Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. So today I am bringing you an updated Q&A or whatever we're going to call it. I didn't organize the questions this time. I have some questions that were put in. I put up a question form and I had it both in my YouTube community page as well as on my Instagram, and we got quite a few questions. So I'm going to take some time today to go through those for you guys. This is kind of to celebrate hitting 18K, but also that's like a random number. I usually do these Q&As at random numbers because I just had a few people ask for it in the past like couple months, and so I was like, okay, well, now that we're at 18, we'll just do it. So yeah, these questions, I told you guys you could put them any way you wanted to. There was also room if people wanted to give me a book rec or have a video idea, so that is stuff that I will keep for myself for future plans here. I also have some blueberry raspberry typhoon water today because sometimes you just need it. Sometimes you just need it. We're also going to film this in hopefully a quick fashion because I turned off the air conditioning. Sometimes I just leave it on. This summer, I haven't yet had to like leave it on while I was filming. I'm sure that time is coming. But since I had it on all night, I'm able to like turn it off really quickly to film. So we have to get through this good. So we're going to start right in with these. I have my computer here with all of them, so you'll see me looking down a little bit for that. But let's just go through these questions. I'll go through them all, the ones that are actually questions. I can already tell some people didn't actually use this as a question form, but that's all right. So we'll see what we get. So the first one is literally, do you ever feel behind in life? And they put quotation marks on it. Now, there are a lot of levels of philosophy and, you know, introspection that we could get into with this one. So on one part, yes, there are certain things I feel behind in. You know, I have just reached 30 this year. I'm happy to be 30. Actually, I'm healthier than I've ever been. In a lot of ways, I'm happier than I've ever been. Doing YouTube full-time, reading full-time is just, I couldn't even like dream to do that 10 years ago because I was like, there's no way that I can make it happen. And though there's a lot of hustle, I have to do to make this happen, right? I have to have varied income streams if it's possible, because YouTube at any time can just stop showing your videos to people and then you lose $400 within 1 month. Like that definitely happened, which might not be a lot to some people, but when you are, you know, hustling at the level that I am, it's a big deal. So yeah, that can be stressful. Do I feel behind in not having like a husband and kids by now? Some days I do, some days I don't. It just really depends. I think it depends on if your goals in life include that. And at one time they did, and I would like them to include that again. But I also know that there's a lot I could be doing to make sure I was having a husband and kids that I haven't. Like, I don't go out. I don't use online dating. I don't have my friends setting me up with people. Like, there are things that I could do to try to meet people that I don't. So when I have sometimes the pity party, I'm also like, yeah, but you also are a lazy bitch who reads her books at home instead of going out on the town. But also that just sounds incredibly taxing. Incredibly taxing. Why can't the men just, you know, come to me, right? Why can't that just be happening? I don't know. So yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, sometimes I feel behind, but a lot of times I don't, because I'm also cognizant of like other friends and how their lives are going. And just because they do have a husband or they do have kids, they still feel behind in other things too. So that's all relative to the person. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. Question 2. Do you miss working in the corporate world? And that answer is easily no. I think I've said this before. Really, the only thing that I miss, you know, is more money. Like, which comes with a lot. It does come with a lot. Like, having more money, having the benefits, that is a huge part of it, and it's why a lot of people stay in it and are very successful. Like, I will tell you, being a booktuber is not about making the big bucks at all. Like, at all. I promise you, like, I do my own expenses and taxes and income, and we are barely breaking even with stuff. There's still debt I have to handle that if I was still working at Microsoft would probably be paid for by now, and I would have a huge 401k. I don't have any of those things anymore, but I am so much happier and so much less stressed out, and the stresses that come with hustling day by day are vastly improved by the fact that I get to do this and that there are people who want to see me succeed and who love the content that I make. You guys, I mean, we're only on the second question, and I can tell you that I get comments daily from someone, from somewhere, who tells me that their videos help, my videos help them through a tough time, or the book recs that I've given have helped them fall back in love with reading, or even some really dark ones that I'm not going to share them because they're very like personal to the person who sent them to me and to me. But those little things, like, they outweigh so much other drama that may come with this job. And not that there's a ton, there's some, but not that there's enough where I'm ready to throw up my hands, because it's amazing. So no, I don't miss the corporate world, but for benefits and money. But that's how it's going to be with, you know, any job that does more. And there are some things cooking, you know, like, I've grown so much in just the last year. Support has grown so much. And like, I know where a goal is that I want to get at, where not only will I be surviving, but I can pay off some debt. Because that is something that bugs me. I don't like having debt. Not that anyone does, but it really like eats at me. Having credit card debt, having my school debt and stuff like that. But I also know that like a lot of people do. I'm not alone. I'm not a failure because I have those, but I still would like my success to be able to transfer into like becoming financially independent in other ways too. All right. Here we go. What was your first dark romance book? That's a great question. I've answered what my favorite romances are quite a bit. I'm already making this video so long because I want to dive into detail for it. So it's funny now because I've talked about how when I look back, a lot of the historicals I read in the beginning, I would consider a dark romance now for the content that is about it. But when I think of what was really like the first one, I know I read other ones, because this is the case. Like, I didn't write like, today, this is the first dark romance. I know I had read Mafia before this book. I know I had read, you know, some other dark things. I'm pretty sure like, so let's be real. I'm pretty sure like Twist Me by Anna Zares was one of the first. But what I call like my first like dark romance really was Untouchable. And the reason why I pick it as that is because that's the one that made me see, this is a way I've never like thought about sex and relationship and like manipulation and a psychopath before. I had never been confronted that way with a story like that before Carter Mahoney. I just hadn't. And so I probably did read other dark ones before that. I would really have to scour my Goodreads. And if I was already using my Goodreads by the time I read a dark romance, I don't know that either. I really only started heavily using the Goodreads in 2018. So I don't know what was before that, but I know that Carter Mahoney is the one that really stands out as like the first like changeable dark romance where I was like, I want to find more of this. I need more of it. And I could have my own timeline completely wonked out, who knows? But I feel like that was the first one that really got me so into it. And again, we're going off of my memory, which can definitely be faulty, but that's what we're going with. This one was another. Do you struggle meeting people to date? It's so hard to find someone that compares to a book boyfriend. So this goes back to like question number one. I don't really try to date. So it's not a struggle, as more of like, I literally haven't even tried. So yes and no. What do you enjoy doing other than reading? Well, I like taking up a lot of crafts. But the thing is, I'm usually reading while I do the crafts because I listen to audiobooks while I read. I've had this question over the years. I really do read all the time. If I don't have an audiobook going, like I listen to podcasts. I like a lot of true crime podcasts and things like that. But if I'm doing other projects, I'm usually reading as well. So like I have taken up cross stitching. I have done some paper crafts. I started sewing last winter. So those are some other things I do besides read, but I'm also usually reading while I do them because like I said, audiobooks are books. So those are kind of what I do. Otherwise, I mean, I love my family, so I like seeing them. Any tier rankings soon? So I know people say I can do this using my phone. People say that, and then they say like record your laptop as you rank it and do that. It may be true that that can be done, but editing it together on my phone is the problem. And I don't really like tier ranking videos that much. I know, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't think other people should be making them. I know that they can be very popular and they're really great, but they're just not ones that I care to figure out how to film with my phone. Because yes, I may be able to get that footage of doing it, but editing those two kinds of footage together on my phone with the app that I use, I don't care to figure it out. So moving along, probably not any tier ranking videos from me. Is there a trope or a storyline you would like to see more of? So this actually came up for me reading Minx, which should be out by the time you see this, but I know it's still really new. This doesn't so much have a plot to do with spoiling a plot or anything, so I'll share it. I really like seeing periods happen in romance. I know. But there's just something so intimate about a man, like either number one, not making a big deal out of a woman's period, and number two, being there for the care and support during that time, because, you know, we can be a little cranky, we can be a little vulnerable, we can be a little horny. Is he there to take care of his woman's needs when she has a period? That is what I would love to see. I love seeing that in books. And I actually have a video just of recs that have periods in romance. I made one of those. If I remember, I'll put it up there. Otherwise, you can just go to my recommendations playlist. It's on there. And I absolutely love seeing it. And Minx does have a scene like that in there. And oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Like, it was beautiful. So I really, really love that. Also, storylines. Let's see if there's like a storyline that I would like more of. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. I usually find enough of what I want. I know that's a weird thing to say, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like if there's a storyline that I like, I've seen it a lot. There's usually just some tropes I'd like to see more of, and I usually like the taboo things. You know, I'd like there to be more pegging in books. I'd like there to be more like ass play that happens in books without, you know, without there having to be pegging. Like, are you giving your man a good blowjob and using a little bit of, you know, help in the back door too to just make it really great? I don't know. I like the kinkier things to show up in stories without it having to be a dark romance. I just like that stuff. So I don't know. That's where we're going with it. I mean, I love single parent romances, but we are also like absolutely flush in those right now. Like single dad, single mom, like they happen a lot. So I don't necessarily need more of those right now. Okay, honestly, what do you think about Gianna Darling still not releasing her book, but keeps saying coming soon? The same with Milla Vane. So yeah, I've talked about this on some of my like live shows before. And I mean, okay, I have two sides to it, and this is what I always say. And I know we just named a couple specific authors, but I'm not just talking about these authors. So I'm going to be clear, I'm not singling out any authors. Number one, is it frustrating? Absolutely. Absolutely it's frustrating. But it's frustrating because I love the authors so much. I also know that authors are human. We all know that authors are human. From Sarah J. Maas, the goddess of fantasy, all the way down to our humble indie authors that we love with our whole chest. They have other lives and they have other things that are more important than writing us books. Is it annoying to just hear it's coming soon, it's coming soon, it's coming soon? Yes. Because I like to plan. I like to know. I like to know when I'll get it. But there are also things that are out of someone's control. I've shared what I think is kind of happening with the Gianna Darling one, I think that she was maybe waiting until her, you know, because if you cancel a pre-order, Amazon can like ban you from doing pre-orders for a year. That's my speculation, is that part of it was, okay, let's just wait till the ban is over. You know, she had like a wedding she was planning. There was things going on. And that's her life. Like, I'm sure that her books are still doing so well without her even having to release a new one, because some authors, when your backlist is built up that good and you have such voracious readers, like, you're going to keep doing great, even if you don't have something new coming, you know? So yeah, I have more like mild frustration. It's not where I want to cancel an author because they've done it, not because I'm like, oh gosh, this author doesn't care about us. I mean, stuff happens. We don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know what's happening in her life. We have no idea. And the same goes for Milla Vane. Milla Vane has been open at different times that I believe she had some like illness and some personal things going on that pushed that book back. That one is really frustrating because from what I've heard in some stuff she said, she would have just like put the book on pause indefinitely until she had time to work on it. But because that one is a traditional contract, they just keep pushing the book back, even though she knew like she wouldn't hit some of those dates. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of like with the Maya Banks ones, where those are on hold indefinitely, but you can go to the Goodreads page. You can even, I think for some of them, go to like Amazon links and they keep showing that they exist. That's because those publishers like aren't letting go of that title, even though the author like knows that it could be years before it's coming, or it might not because they're ill. So that's kind of the thing with the Milla Vane one, is like, I don't feel that Milla Vane would have strung us along the way that it feels to us if she was in control completely of that side. I feel like she would have just canceled it and been like, I'll get back to you when it's coming. But because the traditional publishers want to keep it on the list, keep it on the line, they just kept moving the date, which then gets us excited. But I more so watch her social that she runs. Like, I watch her Instagram. When like Stone and Snow was like coming up, she was posting teasers for it. Like, the book was written, it was coming. There haven't been like any teasers for the newest book. So I'm not even counting on the release date of when it is until I start seeing there be teasers, until I start seeing, you know, when it shows up on NetGalley, then I'll believe that it's coming. Until then, I'm just not even thinking that it's coming. And people keep putting it on lists, and like, I've stopped putting it on lists. I used to have it on TBRs, used to have it on anticipated releases. I will put it back in an anticipated release video when Milla Vane starts posting about the book herself, not her publisher. Does that make sense? I don't know. This was a mini rant on it. Basically, those are my real feelings about it, is like, yeah, it's frustration. But what I will always say about books, authors do not owe us their books. Should we be teased mercilessly? Maybe not. That's not the nicest thing to do. But also, like, they don't owe us the book. If Gianna Darling never decides to put that out, we weren't owed this book. So that's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. Okay. Question on ARCs. I feel like one PR company specifically has all the best authors and never approves me anymore. What gives? That is a great question. Okay. I have waxed on and on about that at different times. And again, this one comes back to kind of what I was saying about authors don't owe us our books. I mean, PR companies don't owe us choosing their books. I've had some disappointments that I've shared where there's authors that I've read literally the last 6 of their books. I've done ARCs and I've promoted it, and then I've started getting rejected for it, which is a bummer. Some of the things that I know that they look for, because one of the things that has changed in the wording of like Valentine PR, I'm not calling them out. I love Valentine PR. Like, I get a lot of my ARCs from them, but there were some for authors that I love so much that I've gotten rejected for. And then other ones like I'll get, and I don't know why. It does say that it isn't necessarily follower count that they will turn someone down for. It's how your interactions go. So if you have posts of theirs that like aren't getting the interaction that they want to see, because that is important, that's what helps it get pushed, they may be rejecting some people. There also are some very strict amounts that they let out. Like, I know some authors who I'm friends with, they've straight up said like they cap it at this many, because now that they're bigger, they're more worried about pirating, they're more worried about stuff getting stolen and things like that happening. And so they really have honed down their ARC teams to a certain group that they really trust. and who aren't blacklisted by other authors. Like there are like authors obviously talk behind the scenes on stuff, and if they see shifty stuff happening, people could get cut from them. But yeah, I think with some of the really good authors, they literally have hard and fast numbers of what they will take, right? So I also was finding myself really overwhelmed with ARCs, so I did like back off a little bit, and I wonder if that maybe hurt me for some of it, because then I was only picking like a few, so then when you get rejected, it feels like a bigger rejection. But when I very first started getting ARCs, I had a very, very small following on Instagram, and like my YouTube was really the one that I like pushed with it. But there are some people who only use like Goodreads and they only post to sites, and they still get them, right? But they're very consistent and they do a detailed job with it, and they're on time and they keep all of that up. Also, something can help is like for some of the PR teams, they have like a preferred list that you can try to get on, and it just kind of helps get you first shot at them. Because with some of them, like I know specifically for like 2 of the authors that I was sad I got rejected, I waited a few too many days to apply. Like they say the thing is open until 2 weeks before release. At least that's what Valentine PR does. But also, if they're only going to take 50, well then how does it matter if you signed up before the line, but they already have 300 people who signed up, right? So I don't know. This is my speculation. I'm not friends with any PR company. I don't have the inside scoop on any of that. These are just patterns and things that I've learned and the frustrations that I've dealt with as well. I have many, many PR companies that I will pop into at different times. There's Give Me More Books PR. Valentine PR also has an audiobooks group that I usually get approved for audiobooks for them, because not a ton of people are in the audiobooks group. So that could be a place to go. There was Social Butterfly PR. There's Candy Cane PR. There's the new audiobook PR company, Forever and Always PR, is that what they're called? So there's a lot of those. Of course, there's NetGalley. NetGalley is where I very, very first started getting approved from, and eventually got like automatic approval for a couple publishers. There's Edelweiss. Edelweiss is like so confusing to use, but that's one that I would get approvals from where I wouldn't in other places. So I don't have an answer for why you don't get approved anymore, because I don't understand, because there'll be ones where I have done all of their previous books and then I don't get one. And then there'll be ones where I'm sure I'm not going to get it because it's such a huge book and I get it. So I just keep applying for them. Also, I think, if you're someone who has the bandwidth to try some of the newer authors, I think that building up your backlist of like books you've done for them could help you. So if you're not only asking for like, let's say Nikki Sloan's book or Catherine Cowell's book or one of those, like if you're taking on some of the authors that maybe it's more of a risk, but you read that book and you do a diligent review, I think you're going to help build up it, if you're not only trying to go for the best authors, right? So anyway, that was enough ramble on that one. I was supposed to be faster at this, and we've only done like 10 questions. Oh, here it is. Are you going to Book Bonanza? Yes, I am. When you see this video, I will probably be there at the time. This kind of came up last minute for me. That's why I haven't like talked about it. And now I'm just feeling like really overwhelmed getting packed and ready to go to it. But yes, I will be at Book Bonanza. I'm actually heading out, really, really early Thursday morning, and I'll be there until Sunday. So I'm very excited to go. It was really unexpected, and I wasn't planning to go because I missed out on tickets originally. So I'll be there. Hope to see some of you there. What is a book series you'd like to become a series or a movie? I'm actually going to say the Kindle series by Claire Kent. Obviously would feel a little bit like The Walking Dead, but The Walking Dead is too dark and like bloody for me. And I love the Kindle series, and I think it could be really good. There's not a ton of special effects needed. There's just some, emotionally constipated heroes and some young, spunky heroines trying to survive in the apocalypse. And I'm also not like so overly attached to the characters themselves. I'm more attached to like how Claire Kent writes a story, that I think I would be okay with any interpretations that were taken with it. But yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to surprise everybody and pick something random. What is favorite dark romances by me? Well, Untouchable, of course. One of my friends is reading it for the first time now, who I was sure had already read this book. And they were like, no, I had it on my list after you mentioned it, and then I never got around to it. Obviously, Queens and Monsters by J.T. Geisinger. Sophie Lark, love her. Pam Godwin, to die for. Yeah, those are some of my favorite. I mean, I guess I said authors. Dark Notes and Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. The Brutal Birthright series by Sophie. Her new dark contemporary Minx. Oh my gosh, that book was amazing. And yeah, those are some favorite dark romances. If you had to make up a top 10 favorite books, what would they be? So I actually have like a video about this, my favorite books of all time. I can tell you a few quickly. I won't do reviews of them, but if you want to find like my top favorites of all time, I'll either put that video here or I'll put my last like favorite of the year video. So currently some that always sit. I mean, Outlander is still always at the top. Jane Eyre is at the top. Heartless, Broken Vow, what else? But yeah, again, The Magic I absolutely love too. So there is some of those for you. But I'm not going to do all 10 right now because too much brain. Would you do an author interview with Jagger Cole? Hell yeah. I don't know how to get in contact with Jagger because it feels to me that maybe like someone does his posting for him. That's just what I feel like. There's not a ton of interactions with Jagger that I've seen. But if I could do an interview with Jagger Cole, I absolutely will. I want to read more of his books very soon. Favorite book this year, or maybe top 3? Well, I just did this video, all my 6-star reads so far this year, and there is, let's say, Grim and Barrett is on there, Reckless is on there, and When the Earl Meets His Match. We'll say all of those are on there. How has Booktube changed over the years from when you first did a video to now? I mean, wow, I couldn't speak to all the trends in that. I mean, obviously there's a lot more people involved. I love that. I think there's room for everyone. That is why I first started, is I was like, there's room for everybody to do this. There's room for every opinion. Someone will find you and love your opinions the most, and you're their favorite person. Like, some of you have told me that I'm your favorite, which just blows my mind. I don't know how I'm someone's favorite, but obviously it's happened. And I mean, that's how it was for me. I had my favorites who I wanted their opinion on every book before I would read it. I wanted to know what they thought. And to be that for someone else is amazing to me. I think just for my personal view, like, it feels so much bigger because I know so many more people. There's people I've met in person, people that I have great connections with that I talk to every day. And when I first started Booktube, that's what I was looking for. I wanted to make friends to talk with books about, and that is the highlight of these 5 years that I've been doing this, is that connection with people that I've made. That's what's changed for me the most, is instead of just posting videos and just hoping they get seen by 10 people, there's people who want to talk to me about books every day, and authors who reach out to me to read their books. Like, it's the best feeling. As to like YouTube as how it is, I mean, I couldn't speak to that. There's good and bad changes, but I also like seeing so many different opinions. Like I said, there's room for everybody, and we can talk about the trends we want to see and the things we want to see, but there are still millions and millions of books. There are millions and millions of romances out there. We're not going to run dry. We're not going to run out of all the good ones. Even when we feel like trends have changed and we haven't liked stuff, well, then it's time to go into some backlists for a while. Find books from 10 years ago that are what we're looking for. Like, they definitely exist. So whenever I get discouraged that I've read a bunch of new releases that aren't working for me, I'm like, well, there are 50 years of romances behind you that you can look into. And so that's something that I don't want to forget. How did that have to do with Booktube? I don't know. We're moving along. What is your favorite book for each year you've been on Booktube? Okay, well, let me go backwards from now because I think I know my favorites for like the last 4 years. So let's do that. So last year was Heartless. The year before that was Carnal Urges. The year before that, it was, there's one before Untouchable. What was my favorite? Yeah, so I can't find that video right now. Don't know why that's happening. Yeah, those are all some like top favorites of the years for me. Like, wow, so many good books, 18,000 is an amazing number, but which milestone are you most excited to hit? I mean, I think I've always, well, not always, but I mean, 50K is a place that I really want to get to. I don't imagine I'll ever be in the hundreds of thousands of followers. Like, I just don't. I mean, and channels can peak at any time, you know? Like, if I were to be peaked around like 25,000 followers, like, I still feel good that I have people that I can have like, you know, one-on-one connections with, and that's what my Patreon really allows me to do. But in terms of success, there are people who have 50,000, 100,000 followers who still aren't able to do this full time. You know, so the fact that I was able to start doing this at full time with only like 13,000 followers really shows just how devoted my followers are. And that's always what's more important to me. But in my big dreams, what I want, 50K is like, I would like to get there. I want to get there someday. So I will work towards it and do my best and hopefully continue to make the best content I can to get us there. Now that you work for yourself, you could live anywhere. If you left Fargo, where would you like to live? Different country, maybe. Pretend visas and taxes don't matter. So that is a good question. The taxes in North Dakota are wonderfully small, by the way. It's a great one for a small business. Whereas if I moved into Minnesota to be closer to my family, my taxes would explode, like just explode. I don't really know where I'd want to live. I mean, the honest answer is I would like to live closer to my family. If I could live anywhere right now that isn't here, because I love where I live. I'm close to lots of my friends. I'm close-ish to my family. You guys know, you see, I go home to visit all the time. But I would go back to closer to my family if I did, because I just want to be there. I want to be there for my nieces growing up. I want to be closer to my sister. I would choose that. I don't really want to live in Minnesota again, like I said, based on the taxes and just like some interesting choices that Minnesota government makes. I like being in North Dakota. But yeah, that's probably where I'd go. I'd go closer to family. There isn't some like grand place in the world that I wish that I lived, because I would probably be lonely there. Do you ever feel embarrassed talking about certain genres of books? That is an interesting question. I'm never embarrassed to do it. I mean, I get flushed and blushed when, you know, we do some of my taboo romance recs, you know, like when I did the squirting video, I like blushed so much, and when I do some of those taboo topics, but I'm not embarrassed to talk about it because I think that sex is beautiful, and I think that reading it in romance between two characters who love each other is beautiful. And if they want to put in some dirty talk and some spanking and some interesting things, like, I'm here for it. So I get embarrassed like speaking some things out loud, but it's not because I'm ashamed of the books or anything. I'm happy to talk about them and chat with them about people, or chat to people about them. But yeah, that definitely was tough in the beginning when I started like talking about romance, and I started really wanting to share about specific kinks that I liked because I wanted to find more of those books. And I knew that if I wanted to find more of those books, then so did my viewers. So the first time that I started making videos about that, yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult to do, for sure. What do you think of booktubers who post negative content, negative reviews, rants, and canceling authors? I think that they know what's best for their business, and they know the topics that they want to talk about, whether they're talking about them to get views or because they genuinely like talking about it. I like tea too, okay? I like some tea too, for sure. And definitely in some of my like Patreon videos, we'll talk about the tea, we'll talk about authors behaving badly. I just always want my channel to be as positive as possible. And that is not to deter other people from doing what they want their channel to be. They probably have fun doing the rants and doing reviews like that. When I see some booktube, like there was one that I just saw. There's one that I just saw where I've never watched this booktuber before. I've never seen them, where they said, I read 3 taboo books and now I need a lobotomy. And it had one of my favorite dark romances, Wild and Free, was like up on the cover, and this video has 200,000 views. And I was just like, wow. Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice to be able to just trash something people love and make a lot of money. But I know that I've trashed some things that people like. I have done rant reviews before. I generally just don't like base my content on it, but it doesn't mean they don't come up. And here's the thing, when they do come up, when I do a rant, those videos do very well. And so I know that if I wanted to point out more about the things that I don't like in certain videos, that I would get more attention. I just would. But I feel like you get more burned out with those, and you're inviting more kind of like back and forth from people if you're trashing stuff they love. It's why even when I have rant reviews, I like to give reasons why the book didn't work for me, because it might not work for someone else for the same reason it doesn't work for me. And I never want to just say a book is trash, even though, again, I have done that before. There are a few specific books that even pop in my head that I'm like, you called this book trash. So again, I'm not one to point fingers and like say someone's doing it wrong or they shouldn't be doing it. But to bring it back, what do you think of booktubers who do it? I think they know their business. I think they know that it will do well, and they are allowed their opinions. It hurts when I see it happen, but I also know that it makes for great YouTube, because I used to watch mostly rant reviews of like, I would watch rant reviews of Colleen Hoover books. I want to watch rant reviews of 50 Shades of Grey. So I'm not innocent. I just, for the most part, try to focus on the books I love, because I have so much to say as it is. As we can see, this Q&A video, which I thought would be quick, we're already getting a long way. And I have so much to say about the books I love. I just don't want to take time to talk about the books that I don't love unless I honestly feel like the book is harmful and I really want to bitch about it. And I usually just move along. Oh, here we go. I missed the why to this, so I wanted to ask now. Why don't you want to do a bookshelf tour? Do you have too many books, too scattered, or you just don't want to? So yes, this is something I get asked all the time. I have a video rec form that's available all the time, and every week someone asks for a bookshelf tour. And now I've answered this many times, and I'll answer it again since this is an updated Q&A. I have said publicly many times that when I hit 50K, right, which I've already said is my like dream to hit, when I hit 50K, I'll do a bookshelf tour. I don't want to do one, so it would be like a gift for my followers to do it. There are reasons. It is too scattered. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 bookshelves throughout my apartment. Most of them are not in great lighting. I don't think you understand how crappy the video would look if I do a bookshelf tour of all my books. Like, I don't know a way to explain that. I film in one very specific spot. I sit in front of my windows with my ring light in front of this shelf in my living room, where I have, you know, 4 beautiful shelves right here that I'm very proud of. Those are the only shelves that it would look pretty for me to film. So what I would have to do the tour is I would like have to basically take all the books off to show them, because you wouldn't be able to see them. And I don't plan to do a bookshelf tour again where I show every single book. I would do one kind of like Jess from Peace Love Books did, where she like gave you a tour of the shelf. But I can't do that. I can't show them all. They won't look good on camera. I wouldn't get a good film of them. And it would just end up being this really unprofessional video that like wouldn't do well. And for the amount of time that it takes to do a bookshelf tour, it's just not worth it. And also, like, I don't enjoy bookshelf tours. So it's not a video that I'm like excited to make for people to have. Like, I did one bookshelf tour of my historical romances years ago, and I hated it. I hated doing it. It was so much work, and I know my channel was really small, so I don't hold that against it, but it also didn't do well. And so for me now, with my busy schedule and all the stuff I have to do and how much work it would be to film a bookshelf tour and to have it tank, which again, I don't see people's bookshelf tours doing that well. There's something that most people have done, but they're not a video that like pulls in the people. You know what I mean? So this is me ranting. I'm telling you behind the scenes of a business. When I hit 50K, that's the video that I'll do, and I will shut all my bitching up and I will do it. But we are 32,000 followers away from there. So I will continue to stick by my stance that I will not be making one of those, because I know people want to see it. They think they want to see it, but I just know it in my gut that if I took the time, which would take me many, many hours to do, it would not be worth it for me, and I would hate filming it and it wouldn't do well. So then what's the point? So there we go. That's my raw and honest feelings why I don't want to do it. I understand people asking me, and I will continue to be polite when people ask me, but when I get to 50K is when it will happen, and not a follower before. Not a follower before will I do it. Because you just don't understand. It's not as simple as some people just have one room that's their library. My entire house is my library. I have over 2,000 books in my home. That is very small, and it would be a lot of work. So, moving on. But that's the answer. There we go. What makeup brand and color names do you use? Oh, that's really sweet. Right now I'm using e.l.f. makeup. I also do have one small palette that is a Urban Decay, because I got it for a really good deal, and I will use that until every bit is gone. But otherwise, I use a mix of stuff. It's not fancy, but yeah, my eyeshadow is Urban Decay. It's a blush palette for it. I also have some makeup that is from, damn it, I don't even remember the company. e.l.f. is who I'm using for foundation and stuff right now. I had a subscriber actually gift me some makeup last year, and I've used it every day since. It's fantastic. But yeah, I'm not big on, I just do what covers my face. That's what I do. What days of the week do you prefer to film your videos? Oh, this is a cute one. So the way I have it worked out now, I basically I film like 2 days a week, and that gets all my videos done. So Saturdays, I film my weekly wrap up and usually 1 or 2 other videos. It just depends on how tired my voice gets. And then either on Tuesday or Thursday, I will film other videos. So whatever we're ready to film. And yeah, and like I said, I have like 4 videos that go up at a time. Now that the Outlander reviews are happening, it looks like I'll also be able to film those on a Saturday morning, because they're going to be out on Fridays. So my plan after Book Bonanza and after I'm gone will be to film my weekly wrap-ups and my Outlander review on Saturday mornings, and then 1 video goes up on Sunday and 1 goes up on Monday. That's what I plan to do. We'll see if it actually happens. But yeah, like, that's just the easiest, because I don't like putting on makeup every day. Since I haven't like had an office job, I try to wear makeup as minimally as possible, and it's been really great for my skin. Oh my gosh. My skin at 30 is doing really, really well. I'm really happy about it. And so yeah, I try to only have to wear makeup like 3 days a week. Church, I'm always wearing makeup. But then, like, I try to film on Saturday and either Tuesday or Thursday. And then that's it. Then I don't have to wear makeup any other days. How long does it take you to prep for a video? Well, this is all different. So one of the days of the week I usually do as video prep. So if I'm planning to film on Tuesday or Thursday, I either do like Monday or Wednesday will be the prep day, and I'll go to the coffee shop usually to get me out of the house so I don't get as distracted, and I will plan the videos I want to do. So I'll go through my video rec form. I'll go through, you know, is it the time of the month where I'm going to be doing my TBR video? Do I have other stuff to prep? So that's usually when I'll do that. And so that'll take me a couple hours. Usually, again, I'm getting distracted by other things. But I'll, you know, if I decide I'm going to do a dad's best friend rec, well, then I need to check the Goodreads lists. I need to check my own TBR, like which books that I've read or want to read, and then I fill that out. I try to do 10 recs for every video, or 7 to 8 if it's for a taboo or oddly specific one, and I'll get that together. When I prep for my weekly wrap-ups, that one takes a little bit more because I enter all of the books that I've read into my spreadsheet that I made, so that I have the names and the ratings and the spice ratings, so that when I do my video, I know that. That's something I've done the last year and this year, and it's made my life vastly easier. But that I usually prep for on Friday night because, you know, I read all week, and then I keep track of the books that I'm reading in my little notebook here. And then when it's time on Friday night, I take those and I enter them into the form with all the tropes and all my thoughts and everything. So yeah, a video, let's say a weekly wrap-up video usually takes like an hour to prep for it. And a trope video, I mean, that one can take anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour to prep. It just depends on how much digging I have to do for the tropes or if I know them right away. And then, yeah, otherwise, like getting my makeup, just setting up my ring light, and we're ready to go, grabbing the books. So usually takes me about like an hour to be ready to film. If I have the videos all ready to go, we're ready to go. And then it's the editing and uploading that takes the longest, which I think it does for most people because you just gotta fix everything up. So yeah. What type of music did you enjoy listening to? I love country music. It's pretty much all I listen to. I listen to a little bit of pop and rock too, but I mostly listen. What order should I read The Wallflowers, The Ravenels, etc. by Lisa Kleypas? So the order that they go is the Wallflower series, the Hathaway series, and then the Ravenel series. That's how her like main series goes. Most of her other books like do connect into it somehow, but that is like the order they go is the Wallflowers, which again, the magic is technically like a 0.5 in that, so you should read again the magic, then the Wallflowers, then the Hathaways, then the Ravenels. That's the order that they go in. I read them completely out of order because I didn't know about that. So what order should I read the Cora Riley Mafia series in? I'm a little confused. So the way her Mafia series goes is you're reading the Bound by Blood series, the Born in Blood series. So yeah, you start with Bound by Honor, you read through all of those. Then you start with Twisted Loyalties. So now you're reading the Comoras. So you read Twisted Loyalties, Twisted Emotions, Twisted Pride, Twisted Bonds, Twisted Hearts, Twisted Cravings. So you read all of those. Then the Sins of the Father series is the second generation from that series, and it starts with but I can't even remember the first title, but then you have that series. Then she has currently 2 books that fit into that series, and you can kind of read those wherever you want. There is the Sweet Temptation and Fragile Longing, and those ones are about like side characters of the series, and you can read those whenever. So that is currently what's going on. Her newest book, the Irish one, doesn't connect with them at all. You can read that one first, you can read it last, whenever. It doesn't have the same characters. There won't be any crossover at all. So you can start with that one if you want to. That's how you read hers. I feel people covers are slowly being phased out. What is your opinion? I think that it is for now happening. I don't think it'll last forever. It's just the trends and things. And yes, I have talked in depth about how sad that makes me and that I wish it didn't happen, that we were phasing out people covers. I think there will be some authors who keep them as alternate covers, who will always get 2 different covers for them. I think some authors will hold on to that. I think publishing companies are happy with their flower and their cartoon covers. And I don't know why they're happy with it, but they are. They are. And it'll just come around. It's just a trend. So it might be being phased out, but I don't think it'll happen forever. I use the historical romance covers as an example. Like we started with clinch cover, then we had step backs, then we just had like item covers. Then we started getting like step backs again. And now we just have the pretty cover on the front of them. Some of them have went to like cartoon covers, but some of them haven't. Some of them are still pumping out absolutely beautiful covers like Lorraine Heath and, Joanna Shoup, like they still have beautiful covers of people on theirs. So some may be being phased But I don't think that it will be forever because people still want sexy covers on their sexy books. So it may just be a trend for now. We'll have to see where it settles, but I don't think it will last forever. And I think it'll change quicker than we think that it will, because look at how quickly like alternate covers took over. Stuff can change really quickly. So I always stick to, though, it's what you pay for that will happen. So if there are books that you're not loving the covers, don't buy the physical copy of it. Don't do it, you know? Like the newest Melanie Harlow, I really enjoyed that book, but I don't like the cover for it, so I'm not adding it to my library. I have all of her other books with man covers. This is the first one I haven't bought in a really long time because I'm not going to support the item cover. It's not that I don't support the author. I'm just trying to make a point with my money. And my money is, I'll read the ebook of this, but I'm not going to buy one for my shelf and put it in pictures when I don't love the cover. So that is how, as consumers, we can use the power of our dollar to help decide that, right? But what I do love is when an author has alternate covers, I'll buy both of them, right? I didn't even love Liars Like Us too much, but I want the alternate cover of Liars Like Us. I thought it was really beautiful. So I'm going to buy both. And I think that's how we show what we want is what we pay for. So that's how capitalism can work for good. If you were to write a book, what author or authors do you think your writing would compare to? Oh, Lord. I couldn't ever try to be so presumptuous as to say my writing would be like someone. In my mind, books that I've ever thought of even trying, ones I've even never thought of trying, would probably be a sort of like dark contemporary, but not like dark contemporary, because I don't know how I would be able to write some of the darker themes, but I would probably have a pretty emotional contemporary book. The ones that I've ever thought of. Or alternatively, I have had some dystopian books come to mind as well. So maybe I could write like Claire Kent. But I also just don't feel comfortable saying like, what author do you think you would write like? Because I probably wouldn't even compare to anyone. And this isn't me saying I'm going to write a book. I'm not. I'm absolutely not. But if I were, that is maybe what I would try to emulate. I really love how Claire Kent writes such like real raw characters. I'm always surprised at how I'm able to relate to her characters. It just blows me away every time. This is an interesting question. Okay. Wondering about the politics of Booktube. Who helped get the word out about your channel when you first started? Does the community have any unwritten rules? Is it necessary to have friends and allies? And what happens to loner creators, etc.? So that's interesting because I don't know. I was definitely on my own for a long time. I had a couple friends in Booktube, but you know, it's not like they really like talked about me or anything. I started by like making videos that other people were making, but I also wanted to make, you know, like monthly wrap-ups, TBRs. I made a couple lone book reviews. It took a while before I found what my niche was. Does it help you to have friends and allies? Oh, absolutely it does. Doing collabs with people is still something that is recommended, and it's something that I want to do more of. I just need to get my schedule back in balance. You know, you'll notice I've tried to do some more collabs in the last couple months with other creators because I think that it helps so much. I don't know so much about the unwritten rules part. I mean, one of the unwritten rules is I think that there are certain videos you should give credit to if you see someone with a new idea. But other things like TBRs and TBR games and like things like that, that's just something that always shows up. So, you know, if you're directly copying an idea or, you know, you see something that like, oh, I want to make that, but take my own spin on it, try to give the person like credit for it because that's only kind. But also there's times where I have planned, filmed, and pre-uploaded the exact same video as other people, whether it's because it's just that time of year. Like right now, everyone's doing their favorites of the year so far. They're doing the mid-year freakout tag. They're doing all of that stuff. Like you're just going to see that show up because they're now like classics. People do those. And then there's some where like you'll just find that you've done the same video as someone else because you both decided to do that trope at the same time. And it doesn't mean you copied their idea or something, but I try to like give credit to that. Like if I haven't filmed the video yet and I see that Crystal put up a video, I was like, great minds think alike. I saw Crystal put up this video and I was ready to film mine. So definitely go check hers out if you want more recs, right? Because my purpose of YouTube is to just get people reading more books and trying more. So if someone's putting up a video like mine or took, inspiration from a video that I did, I am totally okay with that. I've never been like mad about it or anything, because the point for me is for more people to read more books and watch more videos to get more idea about more books they want. So that's how I feel. I think that it can feel very lonely when your channel is small and you feel like no one's watching it. You do have to kind of be out there and like reach out to people. And again, find your own niche. I don't think you should copy other people, but what are other videos people are doing that you can make your own, that you could take in a different way? Like I did a couple collabs with Bex from Bex Reads, and we did single mom romances and single dad romances as a collab, and we didn't have any crossover in our books. We both were recommending romances. There was not a single crossover in either of our videos. So that's just my point, is like you can make the same video as someone, but all of the recommendations can be different. And that's just better for the community because they're getting more recommendations for something, right? I don't know. I don't know where this one is going. I think that there's drama in any community. There is alliances and best friends in any community because that just happens. But the thing that I've started cheering is like, you're not necessarily co-workers with the other people, right? You can be friends with who you want to be with, and you can ignore the people that you want to ignore. But I always think that being nice is best, and if there's someone you're seeing and you like what they do, tell them that. Without any expectation of a collab or anything, just tell them you like what they're doing, because we all like to hear it. We all want to be validated, and it is a great way to start a friendship. Like some of the best friendships that I have now are because someone just loved what I was talking about and they started interacting with me. And then I was like, I want to talk to this person outside of my comments. And so I looked them up on Instagram and they were like, oh my gosh, you found me, it's beautiful. Okay, we have 2 questions left. How is my personal life going? Well, we kind of already did that. It's great. I have great friends. My personal life is good. And the last one, how did you start reading? That is a great question. I started reading by learning as a child, like everyone does. And my parents, as soon as I could read the story to myself, they stopped reading to me and would have me read to myself. We had reading time pretty much every night when I was a kid. And that was my escape. And that led to many wonderful kids books. That led to many wonderful young adult books. That led to many wonderful fantasy and romance and adult books. And it's been a great ride ever since. So that's a perfect place to end this. Thank you so much for everyone who submitted questions. I appreciate it so much. I hope you enjoyed some of these rambles that I had to share. So I hope you have a wonderful day, friends, and I'll see you next time.